Welcome back to the Run for Oak Hills podcast. I'm joined by Joe Hughes, PGA General Manager at the Penn State Golf Courses. Joe, thank you so much for taking the time to be with me today.
No, Kate, thank you very much for your time. Look forward to working with the Golf Coach Association of America in the Summer Series. We're excited to host, so thank you for your time.
We look forward to coming out there as well as our season concludes this summer. First off, could you just tell me a little bit about the history of the Penn State Golf Courses?
Sure. Our golf course, the oldest one, is the White Course that dates back to 1922. So we're getting ready to celebrate the centennial of our Penn State White Golf Course. And then the event coming up this week will be on the Blue Course, which dates back to 1970. And it's the home of our Penn State men's and women's golf team. They've hosted 2 invitationals here. The women is in the spring and the men in the fall. So they do a great job of hosting those invitationals year after year. And we look forward to a great championship for you all coming up here this summer. They were designed by Harrison and Garvin back in 1970, and they've done some great work. Harrison was someone who worked under Donald Ross. You kind of see a little that with the push-up greens and things like that on the front 9. And then we went through a major change as Penn State campus began to expand. They took over some of our old the old White Course that sadly that Willie Park Jr. designed. They ended up taking up 9 holes of our original Blue Course. And so they said, well, we're taking those away from you. Do you mind coming in with a new designer and building the back 9, which you all will play this coming week when it comes to the championship? The Alt and Clark design is what you're going to see on the back 9, which has, it's a little bit more of a link style with a lot of undulation to the greens. So it's definitely 2 different 9s at the championship we'll be playing this summer series. So the front 9 is a little more tree line. The back 9 is a little bit more grip and rip, but undulation to the green and a great finish to a good tournament.
You guys have hosted numerous collegiate events, including Big Ten championships. What makes these courses, specifically maybe the Blue Course, such great venues for collegiate golf? Kind of besides the fact that you're Penn State's home course, what are some of the other features that you think makes these golf courses great for collegiate events?
Well, in 2006, that's a great question. In 2006, we took a look at it and we brought in a third architect who helped us, Dave Heatwall, who worked under many, many years of Jack Nicklaus and his team. And they added over 700 yards to the golf course. And so that helped make us Big Ten worthy and Big Ten championship ready. We did a lot of work with the bunkers. And so we hosted the women in 2007 and then the men in 2008 with the Big Ten events. And then we were lucky enough to host the women's regional in 2009. So we were very, very proud. I think what really makes it different, yep, the golf course is there. It's challenging. We added some things to make it a little bit more difficult and add some teeth to it. But really what makes the Penn State experience is the community, the support of the volunteers that are needed to host some of those championships that you mentioned. It doesn't go out with just our staff of 3 or 4 people and the committee. It comes out with the volunteers and the support. And so the teams that come here and the summer series will feel like, wow, this is a really fun community town. And they really take great pride in their sports. And of course, the Penn State Golf Course is just one of those. So we put a lot of pride in the facility, and the folks coming here this week are really going to enjoy themselves.
I'd like to quickly go over a course overview. I've kind of split up the Blue Course into some sections that I feel like the stretches may come in, but I'd love to hear your opinion on how you would play this golf course. I really feel like holes 1 through 6 are fairly straightforward. Not too many dog legs, not too many bunkers. You have the short par 5. I believe it's the 4th hole or 5th hole. I'm sorry. That's only about 5-4. That's only about 514. But not really a ton of difficulty here. Where do you see some high scores or some low scores coming down in these first third holes?
So the golf course as a whole is about just over 7,100 yards. And the testament that comes from those first 6 holes, you'll find they're carved out through the tall deciduous trees that we have. 1 and 2, yep, there's pines on both sides of the fairway. But then when you get to number 3, over 400 yard par 4 that has a slight dog leg to the right that you can possibly go through the fairway if you don't do the right proper club selection. And then hole number 4 is almost about a 200-yard par 3, once again, carved through the trees with bunkers on all sides of both 3 and 4 greens. So to me, 1 and 2, yep, they're straightforward right there. What you see is what you get. But, if you hit it straight down the middle, but what really comes into play is holes 3 and 4. that are well tree lined, as well as some undulations. So you might have a side hill lie on number 3. And then, of course, you got to hit the green on number 4, or else you'll be in some thick rough. So after you've played the tough par 3, number 4, you get to the grip and rip number 5, which is a nice tight shoot through some more deciduous trees, but it's an opportunity at just over 500 yards for you to find the green in 2, or at least get that possible chip in from just off the green to get yourself with a nice eagle opportunity, as long as you avoid the pond that does come into play on the tee ball off the tee, and it's on the left-hand side. But and then number 6 is just a grip and rip right up the hill, slightly uphill, but a very large green that has some undulation to it, but it's protected, both of them, by bunkering. If you can avoid those, you might have another opportunity to get a birdie before you get to the tough stretch upcoming here from 7 through a 10.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Actually, I think 7 through 10, we got the dog legs, right? 4 straight dog legs,
yeah,
getting a little bit longer now. You got 7, which is 455 yards, right around there. What in these 4 holes do you really feel like comes into play, besides the fact that they are dog legs?
They are long. It's the fairways. You'll have some slight undulation to them. So it's just a matter of the type of lie that you get. And it is almost like a small L-shaped postage stamp green that if you miss it to the short right, you're going to be in this bunker that's got 7 feet of undulation that you'll have to carry over. Or if you miss it left, you could potentially be down in the woods and be looking for your golf ball and have a difficult shot coming back. When you get to number 8, it is a straight uphill par 3, probably teeing off around 200 plus yards, all uphill carry, well bunkered on the left and the right. And there's a big old tall oak tree that does come into play on your tee shot. And that'll definitely be there to help deflect some of your great shots. So just watch, if you're a drawer of the ball like myself, that might be an opportunity for that golf ball to catch that big tall oak. So beware. And then you get an opportunity to catch your breath on number 9. Yes, slight dog leg to the left, but once again, under 500 yard par 5. That you'll have an opportunity for an eagle opportunity, or at least a close birdie if you get those wedges coming into play. And then long story short, number 10, that has some bite to it as well, about 440 yards, little slight dog leg to the right with a small postage stamp green that has a lot of undulations. So now when you get into the back 9, you'll see the Alt and Clark design, where the undulations of the greens will definitely come into play for you.
Moving into 11, I didn't really even know how to label these last stretch of holes, because they just go crazy with layout and bunker. I mean, 11 doesn't even look like it has a real shape of its own. The bunkers are in such weird positions. What's the story kind of behind? Because I feel like it's 2 separate designers between 1 through 10 and 11 through 18. Everything just goes haywired with bunkers and water and layout, and everything goes nuts. What kind of happens here from 11 to the finish?
Yeah, as you said, the Harrison and Garvin front 9 is carved through the trees. You get to the back 9 and you have a wide open Alton Clark design that has well bunkered, well placed areas that you might be doing some more layups than you'd like, or you better carry that driver a little bit more than 270 yards in different locations if you want to try to cut the corner, because there is a bunker pretty much in every opportunity that you can have of a miscue to be there to retrieve your golf ball. So, yep, after you just finished the tough number 10 par 4 with the undulations of the greens, you're going to see now it's for a well bunkered areas on our entire back 9. They do come into play off your tee shot, and especially around the greens. So when you get to hole number 11, it's an all uphill par 4 over 400 yards, and the selection off the tee will make a difference. It has at least 4 or 5 different bunkers that will come into play and potentially catch your golf ball. So it's time to now put the thinking cap on. So the par 4 uphill, it's there, but it's going to be a difficult opportunity, even with technology, of finding where that pin's located, because the green does go from right to left at a diagonal. So, and if you do miss it or miscalculate, you're either in the bunker short left, or you're going to be going long right with a tough, difficult pitch. After you get through the par 4, number 12, all downhill over 550 yards. Once again, the par 5s is where's the opportunity for folks to score. So I wish them all the best. That's the opportunity, because the par 4s and the par 3s, they'll eat you up. And then when it comes to number 12, there's just about 75 yards short of the green. You will find a small little creek that comes into play, depending if you're going to try to go for it in 2, or if you want to lay up and be smart and leave yourself with a 100-yard shot. But if you go for it, just know that you got to have a good carry to get that ravine just about 75 yards short of the green on number 12. Then 13 is an all uphill par 4. Once again, you got to carry 2 or 3 bunkers on the right-hand side. And if you don't do that, you're going to be catching them. If you bail left, there's another monster bunker that'll come into play for you. And it's all uphill. So club selection is going to be critical going into 13 green, where you'll find, once again, 2 more bunkers short and 1 deep on the back right. But all of the greens are kind of like front to back. They're diagonal. There's nothing straight in front of you. And you'll definitely see that there's 2 designers from the front, which is more rounded greens, less undulation, to the back 9 that has a lot of great character. And it's going to be a great finish to this summer series.
And speaking of the finish, when you go into these last 5 holes, they shrink a tad bit in distance, but their layout, like you said, with 2 different designers, layout doesn't really change a ton. With tricky bunkers and whatnot. How are guys going to be able to play, especially these last 2 par 3s? Where are you expecting some of the lower scores or maybe even the big numbers to come in as we hit this last stretch of holes?
Yeah, the last stretch, it's going to be critical with your shot making with your mid irons. It really, the college level at this point, it'll be 185, 190 yard shot into the downhill number 14, which is all carryover water. Once again, right to left with this diagonal type of shape green. That if you just have a little draw and you're short, you could be pin high. But it's not like number 12 at the Masters or Augusta, but you could be deceived on how that diagonal shaped green really comes into play with your shot making. So that's our signature hole number 14. And I expect right there is a chance to score. But if you go long because you don't want to come up short, there's bunkers waiting for you to catch your golf ball. Hole 15 is just a great, once again, be smart with your layup. So hopefully folks are getting in a practice round this week, because it'll either be hybrid or 3-wood off the tee to avoid the big bunker on the right, and then have about 125 to 150 yard shot going into that green. That to me is respectable for a birdie opportunity on number 15. But then, because you got to do that then, because when you get to 16 and 17, those are very tough, higher numbered on average, averaging about a bogey with a lot of our collegiate events on 16 without a bounds down the entire right-hand side. Very, very long, over 400 yard par 4 with bunkers surrounding that fairway, and then coming back into the wind potentially on the par 3, number 17. Just really makes for a tough finishing opportunity for you. But when you get to 18, if we continue to keep that as a par 5, which we're looking at for this week, there's another chance for you to have a wedge in your hand, if not close up by the green for that eagle opportunity finish. So if the match comes down close to this week with the Summer Series after 3 rounds, expect 18 to be the one where either you go for it or you lay up and you see what the risk reward is for those student athletes. So we look forward to it.
And speaking of coming down to the wire, with the conditions you think the golf course is in, what do we expect our final score after 3 rounds to be in this tournament? Where are you expecting the final results to end up?
I've been watching it on GolfStat and the different numbers that you all are playing, and I'm guessing around 9 under, but it really will come down to, we have very tight fairways. A lot of folks, and looking at some different golf courses you've played, maybe the fairways are a little bit wider, but here, let's just say our superintendent, Rick Paget, our golf course super, and his team have done a fantastic job fertilizing the rough. So if you're just off a couple yards, you're going to have about 4 to 5 inches of rough, depending upon where you are, as they get looking forward to the championship conditions that we do have in place for everybody. So to me, a good score if you keep it in play, because the driver's not needed all the time. If you can keep it down the middle with your 3-wood hybrids, 9 under is where it's going to be, I think, this week for a good score.
Well, Joe, we really look forward to coming out there to Penn State, and we will see you this week.
Thank you, Cade, very much. Yes, sir. It's a pleasure, and I appreciate everyone's time, and good luck this week.
Thank you.